Last time on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, man.
Faith switched bodies with Buffy. Find out what happens next in Who Are You?
You're really going to do that?
Yeah, that's my intro.
All right. We open right where we left off, where Faith in Buffy's body has beat the crap out of Buffy in Faith's body.
I'm not going to lie, I'm confused already. Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to this episode.
They carry Buffy away on a stretcher while Faith gloats like the bitch that she is.
Her first line of dialogue almost reveals what's really going on, and I could tell this episode was going to be subtle as
I'm glad we finally got the kid.
She's not a kid. I just mean that she's very strong.
Get her out of here because I'm not Faith. I mean, whoa, shit.
Back in the house, Joyce asks why Faith is the way that she is, saying that she must be very unhappy, which was pretty cheesy. And fake Buffy does a very subtle job of not acting suspicious at all.
And it shocks Joyce because Buffy would never talk the way fake Buffy is talking, but of course we just blow over it.
Fake Buffy goes to take a bath and looks at herself in the mirror and practices her Buffiness in a mocking way.
You can't do that. It's wrong.
And meanwhile, fake Faith is in the hospital going nuts and is quickly sedated because calm, rational conversation is not in either of these characters' playbook.
Willow talks to Tara about how she's worried about where Faith is and what she might do, and Tara mentions how she knows about Willow's friends, but they don't know about her. Willow makes up some stuff about how she likes having something to herself that she doesn't have to share with the gang, and Tara ramps up the cheese as far as it can go.
I am, you know. What? Yours?
Flamin' hot. Fake Buffy is dressing like Faith and putting on makeup like Faith and styling her hair like Faith, and she finds Buffy's passport and schedules a flight when Joyce enters, and she even picks out the same lipstick as Faith, but of course we just blow over it.
Joyce says that Giles called, so fake Buffy heads out. Fake Faith wakes up in a police car when a big armored car suddenly drives in front of them, causing them to crash, and some armed guys extricate fake Faith, saying they are from the Watchers Council.
Fake Buffy arrives at Giles' house and doesn't even know who Anya is, since Faith wouldn't know that, but of course we just blow over it. And she's informed that fake Faith has been taken by the Watchers Council.
Which is news to everyone, so I guess they were all just standing around talking about nothing while they waited for Buffy to arrive.
Giles says it'll be a long time before fake Faith returns, and fake Buffy laughs and laughs, because that's something that Buffy would do.
Willow talks about how she hopes they'll be really hard on Faith, and fake Buffy stabs her repeatedly. Unfortunately, it turns out she's just imagining it and not acting out one of my fanfictions. And Giles mentions Adam, reminding me that that was even a thing, and fake Buffy subtly hides the fact that she doesn't know who they're talking about. She says they can all have fun and she'll patrol all night.
But then we cut to her partying it up at the Bronze. She runs into Spike, not knowing who he is at first.
But he helpfully gives a recap of his character.
And as soon as I get this chip out of my head, I'll be a vampire again. But until then, I'm just as helpless as a kitten up a tree, so why don't you sod off?
She starts to make the moves on him, but ends up ditching him.
Spike gets really pissed and says that when he gets rid of the chip in his head, he's coming after her.
And he doesn't point out how she's not acting anything like Buffy, but we just kind of blow over that.
A group of vampires runs into Adam in some place that Adam refers to as the sewers, even though it looks like a cave.
And the vampires seem more irritated that someone has invaded their space, and not that the person doing it is a mechanical monster mashup weirdo.
He kills one of them, telling them that they fear death more than mortals, which I thought was going to come up later, but it kind of doesn't. And he says he can relate to them being part human and part demon, says they should talk.
Meanwhile, fake Faith wakes up and tells the council people what happened, but they don't listen and tell her she is perverted, what the council stands for. And my question was, what does the council stand for? Because they haven't been around for a long time, and when they were, they didn't really do anything. Maybe they stand for indifference and apathy.
And incompetence, as we'll see later. And my question was, why did they get in the back of the car to talk to her? We'll see later that that's not a good idea, but they will keep doing it. And when they close the doors, they use an out-of-place sound effect that I always associate with Goldeneye.
I'm imagining a Goldeneye sound effect in my head, and it's probably that one.
Yeah.
Willow and Tara arrive at the Bronze, a place where Tara has never been before, despite this whole town being the size of a quarter.
Willow sees fake Buffy egging on some douche chugging a beer and tries to introduce her to Tara.
But she's very dismissive of both of them.
and fake Buffy very subtly acts completely normal, and not like an exaggerated caricature of a character that was already an exaggerated caricature of a character.
Willow goes to get drinks, and fake Buffy rips Tara apart.
She openly speculates about the nature of Willow and Tara's relationship, and brings up Oz, all of which makes Tara uncomfortable. And I thought Amber Benson's acting was really good here.
Willow returns and points out a vampire to fake Buffy, who realizes she should slay him. So she goes in the back room and does it, but she's very put off by the intended victim repeatedly thanking her.
When she goes back, Willow says Tara wants to leave, and asks if Buffy is going to Riley's. And fake Buffy smiles very subtly.
Meanwhile, fake Faith threatens to kill one of the council guys, but the other council guys say that's a risk they're willing to accept when they take these jobs, and they walk away, which was actually pretty funny, because then fake Faith didn't really know what to do.
And they say it's time for a contingency plan, but we find out that they don't really have a contingency plan.
The contingency plan is to talk about a contingency plan without actually making one.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Riley is in his dorm room pretending he knows how to write, when fake Buffy arrives, being all sexy.
When they're alone, Tara tries to tell Willow that Buffy isn't her friend, and says that Buffy isn't actually Buffy, and that her energy flow was disrupted, and she was mean.
And it made me wonder if her ability to sense other people's energy would have other uses, like being able to tell your phone's battery life without looking at it. I hope that comes up later.
That's the first thing that you think of?
Yes.
Willow asks if Buffy could be possessed, and brings up that hyena episode, which was very unexpected.
Tara says there's a ritual they can use to see if something's wrong with her by accessing the NetherRealm. She says it's very dangerous, and she'll need to be Willow's anchor to the normal world, and Willow very cheesily responds.
I trust you.
It's not like anything that we've ever...
I trust you.
I think she was over-exaggerating. I mean, Mortal Kombat is not that dangerous. It's just a video game.
Fake Buffy comes on to Riley pretty hard, which weirds him out, but not so much that he doesn't still want to bang, so they bang.
And at the same time, Willow and Tara are themselves joining in the NetherRealm ritual, which is also very intense.
It involves spreading a bunch of magic Cheeto dust in a circle around them and breathing really heavily.
So it's a pretty accurate representation of what it's like to eat Cheetos.
And Willow very sexually accesses the NetherRealm, but we don't get to see it, because that would cost money.
After they do the deed, Riley tells fake Buffy that he loves her, which completely freaks her out.
She gets out of bed and asks Riley who he is and what he wants with Buffy. When he tries to comfort her, she slowly settles down. What subtle character development.
Elsewhere, Adam is spouting out his demon manifesto, which has apparently won over the vampires, and they agree to serve him.
He tells them that their purpose is to announce his coming, and that they'll have to face their fears. But none of that ends up going anywhere.
He asks them what they most fear, and then we cut to Buffy. So I thought that was going to kind of tie into it, but that was not the case.
As fake Buffy leaves Riley's, she's confronted by his dumb friend, and they throw some pointless jabs at each other in a pointless scene, before she pointlessly leaves.
Meanwhile, the council guys decide to kill fake Faith, but by sticking a gun way into the door, allowing her to easily grab it and escape.
Yeah, those guys are really good. And fake Faith gets in the car and drives away, and then we see fake Buffy at the airport getting tickets.
Fake Faith shows up to Giles' house and says she can prove that she's actually Buffy, and starts spouting out things only Buffy would know.
And Willow and Tara bust in to confirm her claims. They also say they brought something from the NetherRealm that can be used to switch them back. Then Xander calls and tells them to turn on the TV, which, as usual, is conveniently turned to the right channel already.
The news report says that a group of vampires has taken a group hostage inside of a church.
And fake Buffy also learns about it at the airport.
At the church, the police show up, and Riley is telling the person in charge to yield command to him, which he does, despite Riley looking like he's 14 years old.
When fake Buffy shows up, Riley explains that he was late to church, which is why he's wearing a suit and tie. And I thought he would at least take off the coat so he could move more easily if he needed to, but I guess he's not that smart.
He's a badass. Haven't you seen Blade? Blade wears that coat the whole time.
Blade's not dressed to go to church.
Well, that's debatable. Fake Buffy busts into the church, and the vampires mock her before realizing she is the Slayer.
And she says she's not going to let them hurt anyone because that would be wrong.
Meanwhile, Fake Faith shows up with Willow, Tara, and Giles causes a scene to let Fake Faith sneak inside.
The vampires fight fake Buffy, and she kills one of them and knocks another one outside, where Riley deropes him and throws him into the sunlight. And he burst into flame pretty much instantly. which should have happened to Spike about 1,000,000 times already.
I mean, if I'm putting a jacket over my head to prevent getting wet in the rain, I still get wet.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was thinking, like, just a gust of wind might be enough to, like, kill you if you do that, so I don't know.
And what about the thickness of the fabric? Because sunlight can still penetrate.
Yeah, I mean, Spike is usually kind of smoking when he's running around outside.
Yeah.
I think maybe get 2 coats. Or just wear, like, a hoodie, put the hood up, put your hands up in the sleeves, and you're set.
I mean, Deacon Frost even put on some thick sunscreen, and he was good.
Or even just, like, a mask.
Yeah.
With just eye holes.
Yeah, but then people would mistake them for ghosts.
Ah, that's true.
Why is this recording taking so long?
Fake Faith sees Riley, and he is confused by her behavior when she seems to recognize him. She goes in and kills the last vampire and confronts fake Buffy. It's crunch time.
Oh, man. It's so bad. As they're fighting, fake Buffy starts to come to terms with the fact that she's actually a jerk and only cares about herself and sucks.
Disgusting! Murderous bitch! You're nothing!
Fake Faith manages to swap their bodies back, and Buffy watches as the real Faith runs away.
Apparently past Riley, Giles, Willow, Tara, and all the police who are probably watching all of the entrances to that building.
Yeah, but she probably jumped a small stone wall and hid on the other side.
I forgot that was one of her special skills.
Later, Buffy tells Riley that Giles says Faith escaped, which she already knew because she watched her do it, and also that the people from the Watchers Council have left. But they failed to capture Faith, so wouldn't the Watchers just send more people next time? Maybe people who aren't completely incompetent?
I was hoping there would be a twist where those guys really wanted to be part of the Watchers Council but kept getting rejected, so they said, we gotta prove ourselves. We'll go capture the Slayer.
I mean, I wondered why they would only send a handful of people to catch the Slayer, or a Slayer.
Riley asks how Buffy and Faith go to switch bodies, and Buffy nonchalantly throws out magic, which Riley doesn't seem too surprised at a lot of things that he should probably be surprised about.
Yeah, but in Riley's defense, Mark Blucas is not a very good actor.
Oh, I always thought you were going to say his character's an idiot.
Well, that too. Riley says he should have realized that it wasn't really Buffy earlier, and Buffy is upset when she realizes that he slept with Faith. She says she doesn't think Faith will come back, and we see Faith leaving in the back of a vehicle, so she'll probably be back pretty soon. Who are you, overall?
Alright, let me see here.
I thought you were going to answer with a dumb joke. We've been making videos for years and you still don't know who I am.
I don't think I can top crunch time, so I'm not even going to try. This episode played out pretty much exactly as I expected. My biggest fear of Faith, acting like Faith despite being in Buffy's body, was spot on, and it was very annoying that nobody ever said anything until the last 10 minutes. And the fact that Willow and Tara had to perform a dangerous Mortal Kombat ritual was completely unnecessary, as anyone who talked to Buffy for 5 seconds would see that she wasn't actually Buffy. And the fact that possession episodes have happened before, it's not a foreign or outlandish concept. They should have regular check-ins with all of these characters. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, that's true, yeah.
And now that Tara can sense their energy displacement or whatever, that's weird. She could point out all the weird shit that happens all the time to any of them.
Yeah, maybe she'll team up with Geordi and they can tell when people are lying or possessed.
Can't Troy do that too?
Yeah, well, she should be able to.
Yeah. Anyway, Adam showing up was nice, but he still didn't actually do anything except send out a bunch of vampires to kill people, which is not new for them. And they're dead now. Were they the only group Adam converted to his cause? Because if so, he's back to exactly where he was at the beginning of the episode. And now I'm afraid whenever he shows up, we're going to have to deal with a bunch of bloated speeches about the nature of humanity and demons and whatever. Maybe he can talk people to death. That's his real power. The fact that the gang, again, did not seem concerned about Adam at all didn't make any sense. The show is doing everything it can to simultaneously tell us Adam is a huge threat, but also that he isn't that important. I wish they would choose a lane and stick with it. Willow and Tara's relationship developing in an organic way is refreshing, and Buffy and Riley's fracturing at every turn is very much expected. I thought it was odd that the initiative still hasn't actually done anything about anything that's going on. Riley even mentioned that they were on the way to the church during the whole hostage situation, but nobody ever showed up that we saw. This show has a lot of things going on, but it's incapable of balancing all of them in a cohesive way. And it's not like they can't. There are plenty of shows where there's a lot going on and they're able to keep it all worked out. It seems like a lack of skill and execution on the part of the writers/producers, and I hope they figure it out, even though we're pretty much at the halfway point in the whole show. I gave this one a C-, mostly because there's so much potential there, they just can't harness it, and that's disappointing.
I agree. I gave it a D+. Faith pretending to be Buffy turned out to be really, really dumb. I actually thought Sarah Michelle Gellar and Eliza Dushku both did a good job of imitating the other, although Sarah Michelle Gellar overdid it sometimes. But in the actual scenes, Faith shouldn't be acting the way she always does. If she wasn't going to try to be convincing, then why did she even bother hanging around with everyone? And what was her longer-term plan? Just to live out life in Buffy's body? Where was she trying to go with that plane ticket? And her sudden and drastic change of heart was pretty damn ridiculous. And what was Adam's plan with those vampires? I kind of doubt that they'll even bring that up again. The show has yet to make him feel like the big threat that he's supposed to be, so it's a good thing that they took these 2 episodes to focus on something completely unrelated instead of doing that. I said that the previous episode felt like set up for this one, but then this one didn't really do anything interesting with what was set up. The mysterious scenes last episode with the nurse calling people in and those guys showing up at Giles just turned out to lead to the most incompetent and inconsequential characters that have been in the show up to this point. And one of those guys addressed Giles last episode as if he knew him personally, so I thought something was going to come of that, but nothing did. I thought the fights were pretty good in this episode, and Xander wasn't in it that much, so at least there were a couple good things about it.
I think out of everything that has improved, the combat is probably at the top of the list for me.
Yeah, I would still say the humor, but I would say that is up there too. If only they could get the characters to improve a little, and kind of the overall storylines.
That's asking a lot for a show about characters.
For a while there, the flavor of the show was improving, but now it's gotten pretty stale. So maybe it's time for the writers to open up a new bag of ideas.